Oh my god, is that the best Ornn in the world, Makkro? Doing a build guide for season 13?
Yes.
I know you guys have lots of questions on what is good, what is not good, and I know you guys want your silly LPs and your funny tank items giving you millions of stats. So I'm gonna do a breakdown of all the new stuff that has happened, and the patch right now is 12.22b. So Yaksha has been buffed. Pretty much the build paths are all over the place, but the general idea is that all mythics will be built second and not first, because they are not good for laning. They're good for team fighting, utility, and whatever else they have. The only items that mythics that are built first are Heartsteel and Iceborne Gauntlet, which I despise with a burning passion, because they are like low elo bait for me. Yaksha and Radiant Virtue are probably the best for consistent gameplay, and Heartsteel is just something that can snowball, which is why I don't have it a lot, because your Ornn and snowballing is not kind of like something that you can do super well. Like, if you snowball with Yaksha, you're not gonna die in team fights. If you snowball with Heartsteel, you're one Bork away from instant death. So with the new season, Abyssal got buffed. It gives now 500 HP, 300 mana, and it heals you for every spell you cast, which is just free sustain for nothing. And the MR is increased. It's 9 MR, and you reduce it by 5 on enemy champs. So you will have an aura around you that reduces MR. So here it has minus 16. I walk away, it has 0. And the more HP you get, the more MR you reduce. And while Ornn does max HP magic damage. So this becomes extremely broken, because your W will start chunking people, and it will also help your team do damage. And you might be like, but why are you not going Force of Nature? Won't you need more MR? Well, here's the thing. With Abyssal, you get flat MR, and with Yaksha, the thing multiplies itself. So the more people you have around you, the MR will go from it will go to big numbers. It went from 120 MR to 220 with only 4 people near me. So yeah, you'll become offensive with Abyssal and Yaksha, and you will not need Force of Nature unless they have like 4 AP, like full AP. You can go Force of Nature, or like super heavy threats, you can go it, but you won't need it. So Yaksha is basically your bread and butter mythic that you will always build, because it gives so many stats. It gives 5 armor MR for each legendary, which is the best mythic passive for Ornn, because your E also gets increased damage from how much armor and MR you have. Bamis will be built in all matchups where you are in melee range, but it will never be built versus ranged, and it will never be upgraded, because Sunfire is complete utter poo-poo. It is so bad. You do not ever want to go Sunfire. I think keeping Bamis as a component and selling it later on when you're like level 13 or 14, when you need a spike for like a third item, or maybe you fell behind and you need your mythic, is the only way you can use Bamis. Think of Bamis as an early game investment, because it sells for 700 gold. If you get a kill because of it, it basically has done its job, you know? Also, it helps with CSing early on. CSing later, you don't need it with Ornn, but early on it helps, because you are gonna be one to be pushing. Like, if there are minions, you are gonna be auto-attacking, and you're also gonna be pushing the wave. Because if you're auto-attacking and the enemy minions are aggroing you, you won't be able to farm while fighting, which is really important part of tanks that people kind of just like forget, because it's become so much of a muscle memory and like instinct to farm while fighting, at least in high elo. Randuin's got changed for crit, which is really fucking good, because it will make Tryndamyr's, Yone's, and Yasuo's not do any fucking damage. So I'm pretty sure most of you have seen the clip where I was tanking a Tryndamyr here with like 450 armor. I was standing still and they tanked like 44 auto attacks. So that's Randuin's. But if you're gonna be fighting matchups like Yone or Yasuo, they tend to go Bork sometimes. So what you're gonna do versus those kind of matchups is you're gonna go Warden's Bamis, you're gonna build a cloth armor, And then you're gonna wait until you see his build path. Because if he's aiming for Bork, Frozen Heart will be better. But if he's aiming for like Shield Bow into Infinity Edge, Randuin's will be better. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go Bami, Warden's Cloth, and then you're gonna build towards your Yaksha. And then when you see him finish a crit or Bork, that's when you decide to go either this or you go this. Magical Footwear got buffed because you are gonna need as much gold as possible. So you're always gonna want boots, and you're always just gonna sit on it, on a tier 1 boot, because you need all the gold you get, because you need the spikes. Because when you spike really, really hard. You are gonna become so unbelievably tanky. Like Gargoyle as well is paired really well with Yaksha, because you need to take damage from the champs, but these target dummies are, you know, they're kind of useless. But it will stack upon stack upon stacks upon stacks. You will negate all armor pen, all magic pen, and then you buy an HP item and you become kind of immortal. It's just that it takes a long time for these items to work, which is why you need magical footwear and maybe sell Bamis later on. Most of the time it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look like bop bop. You get Frozen Heart, Abyssal, and then you finish boots. You either go Swifties or you go Ionian. You go Ionian when the enemy team doesn't have a lot of like auto-attacking threat, but it doesn't also have a lot of CC. So they also don't have a lot of slow, so you can go Ionian. I mean, I prefer combat stats, so move speed feels really nice. But Swifties, Ionian are good, but Merc Treads and place heal caps if they have CC or not is also pretty good. More builds you can do now versus AP champs is just straight up Abyssal. Rush into Yaksha. Abyssal in lane is so good because you get Catalyst, which is also, thank God, it's back. It's mana, HP, and it gives sustain. And Ornn likes to do this a lot. And every time you do this, you are going to heal. So you have an incentive to spam, which is really good. And when you go Abyssal, you're gonna have Spectre Scowl as well, which, you know, pre-sustain in lane. Like the build path is super good. I'm not building Force of Nature that much unless I'm like in complete danger. You're gonna be building a legendary, Bami legendary, into Mythic most of the time. And if you're not doing that, well, it's probably because you are against a tank. Because if you're fighting a tank, you're probably gonna go this, an AD tank. You're gonna go this and Yaksha the Protein. If it's an AP tank, you can go Abyssal. If it's a champion that like Garen, where no legendary counters him, you could go like Tier, and you can go then Fimbulwinter, and then you can go Gargoyle. This build path is also really good because you get resists, you get HP, and you get, well, more resists and more resists, and you get Thanos basically. The new Randuins is really good. Gargoyle paired with Yaksha is really good. Abyssal paired with Yaksha is really fucking good. It's just that Bamis and Sunfire is dog. It's just so bad that you won't ever care to build it because it's not worth the gold. It's 1,000 gold for 100 HP and 10 more armor, and the immolate is just, you don't feel it, man. You do not feel the immolate. Like, there is no visual or anything. It just stays like this. Like, the big thing about old Sunfire was the auto attack burn. If they nerfed the damage on the auto attack burn, that would have been good. So you still had something extra when it stacked, but when it stacks, it just burns more, which I don't like, because Ornn is not a champion that will stay like this, you know. He wants to do his combo, and then he wants to kite back, wait for his cooldowns, kite back, get a grasp. Like this season, sticking in with Sunfire is bad because fights now are going to play slower because you want to stack Yaksha, you want to play a little more smart. Because, well, you know, you need her fucking cooldowns. Like, what are you gonna do? You no longer have Sunfire and Frostfire, so you have nothing to stack up. Radiant is also pretty good when you're behind. You would go something like this. Radiant gives HP, so Gargoyle second isn't bad, and you will have Bamis, right? And then you go for a fucking support build. This shit is so broken. Because you will be, like, the better version of every support in the game because you have such high health because of, well, passive. And this thing scales on health. And this thing also scales. And you just keep AD carry safe. that it's really, really good. You won't really be tanking, because when you're behind, you'll probably have a jungler that's probably fatter than you, so you probably might go for this build path. And if you're fighting people that's like full AD, you'll probably opt for a build that's like Frozen Heart, Yaksha, then you go Thornmail, and then you go Gargoyle. Gargoyle is super broken with Yaksha. It's so nice. And you'll have like, I don't know, probably around 600 armor. Probably. It's not the most optimal build to go like full resistances. You're probably better off going on Anathema after like Frozen Heart, Thornmail, Yaksha. But seeing the funny stats go like to an obscene amount is kind of hilarious to me. So I will not give one care. Because yeah, okay, that is so hot to see, man. That is so nice. So yeah, that's the general breakdown of the new season. So Abyssal, really good. Yaksha, really good. Randuin's is good versus the crit champs, which is probably Trindayon, Yasuo, only ones. You could go, let's say, Iceborne and Heartsteel. Heartsteel is probably better than Radiant Virtue in solo queue. And by probably, I mean it is. But the higher elo you go, the shitter Heartsteel becomes. I mean, you could still go it, but if you are gonna go it, please go Bami Heartsteel. Do not just go Heartsteel, because you need Bami's early game, okay? Yeah, it's a stacking item, but even when you get it, you need early pressure first, and then you get Bami Heartsteel. And then after Heartsteel, I would guess that you'd go Gargoyles, or something like you need resists fast. I think Gargoyle would probably be best fit, and then you just go like this. Mr. Editor, cut this out. I'm being interrupted. Okay, LxVer, now you can cut back to me. Iceborne is okay, it's mid. With Thornman, you're not gonna proc Sheen. Like, yeah, I know it sounds so good. Oh my god, you have Sheen procs on tanks, but listen, man. You're gonna do this every time, okay? You're gonna get one Sheen proc, and then you're gonna wait like 6 seconds. Like, it's not worth it, man. Like, even if you chain your abilities together, it's not. You're still gonna get only one Sheen proc. This in team fights is super bad, and it gives only armor. The good thing about Frostfire last season was that it gave armor and MR, which was like fucking mind-blowing for me. I get armor, MR, I don't have to fucking shitload dump MR after my Mythic. But I don't know why they did that. But this is only good for like champs like Santa, or people that can actually have low cooldowns. Actually, fighters could use this. I feel like Heartsteel and Iceborne are not like tank items. They're more like Juggernaut. Like some bruisers could probably use them pretty well. Like Ilaoi could go Heartsteel, Black Cleaver. I feel like it's not a job to be doing damage. This is not your job, okay? Your job is tank, be fat. That's your job. Or peel, that's your job. In solo queue, yes, you could use it, but I highly recommend Yaksha, the fucking protein. The protein, man, is the protein. Also, if you pair Yaksha and Gargoyle, you need an HP item after it, because to, you know, make all the shit efficient. Because there comes a point where resistances do have diminishing returns. You have too much armor, but you have no health. So if you have a lot of armor, a lot of MR, and a lot of health, well done, you don't die. So Bamis, do not build it first. Do not build it versus range champs. Okay, like let's say you're fighting Vayne top, you're just gonna go immediately Frozen Heart, Yaksha. If you're fighting Jace, you're gonna go, well, Frozen Heart. Well, into Jace, maybe if he stays melee a lot, you might need it. Most of the range matchups that you'll fight in top lane, you're probably just gonna rush Frozen Heart, because Frozen Heart is broken. Also into Gangplank, you can go Randuin's, because, well, fucking Gangplank. And Frozen Heart doesn't do shit versus Gangplank. But Randuin's though, Randuin's gives 400 health versus him, so the runes didn't change. Oh, I've already updated the matchup sheet, and it's up to date. I update it every time I face a matchup. Every time I might change my mind, I do it. Don't worry about that. Always updating, because I use it myself, you know. The author of the Bible is also using the Bible, you know, because it helps me keep track of what I learned. Randuin's into crit is good, but if the champions have a build path which can avoid a crit route, you have to wait and sit on the wardens and go for the mythic route until you see that their build path is like fully complete. Like if you see a Yasuo Yone going for like Bork, they will usually build recurve bow. When you see a recurve bow, that should be alarms in your head going off. Uh-oh, I'm about to be borked. I'm about to be fucking stabbed. So that should be red alarms to just go Frozen Heart. But if you don't see a recurve bow or a pickaxe, well, then you can just go fucking Randuin's. If you see Borg, Frozen Heart. Okay, enough of me rambling about. Those are all the item sets. This is probably what your builds will look like. So good luck on getting free elo. And that is Makkro signing off. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and watch my stream. Please. Bye. Bye.